checking the forecast, things looking crazy. A storm on the horizon, the pressure is low. Gotta get moving, put on a show. The news is all buzzing, state of alert, but we've got a plan, we're ready to work. Emergency Management Associates, we're here for the crisis, we're here for the fates. From the first sign of trouble to the all clear sign, we're on the front lines, we're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates, we're the calm in the chaos, we're opening gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. See a little fire or a rising flood, we're a well-oiled machine, we're running in the mud. From the city hall meetings to the rescue teams, turning worst case scenarios into hopeful dreams. We're training the people, we're stocking the gear, we're the team you can count on when trouble is near. Emergency Management Associates, we're here for the crisis, we're here for the face. From the first sign of trouble to the all clear sign, we're on the front lines, we're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates, we're the calm in the chaos, we're open the gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. It's more than a job, it's a calling, you see. Prepared for the present and what's yet to be. Every second counts, we're ready to react for our communities. We're making an impact. Emergency Management Associates, we're here for the crisis, we're here for the face. From the first sign of trouble to the all clear sign, we're on the front lines, we're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates, we're the calm in the chaos, we're open the gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. Yeah, we're picking you up, we're ready to go. Let's get this show on the road. Can we get this show on the road, guys? I think we shall. This is Emergency Management Associates, guys. We're here for you every day, Monday through Friday, from about 4 p.m. on to about 6 p.m. Usually we're on the air between 4 and 5 p.m. every day. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates, guys. My name's Ron Tyler. I'm your host. We're here broadcasting from North Carolina, in the foothills of the East Continental Divide, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina, in the Area Command. We're grateful to be here for you. We're glad you're also here joining us here on our program today. This is an exceptional program, guys. We've been doing this for nearly 7 years now. 7 years is a very long time. We talked about earthquakes. We talked about all kinds of disasters throughout the spectrum you might imagine. We talked about earthquakes. We talked about tornadoes. We talked about hurricanes. We talked about shootings. We talked about explosions. We talked about train derailments. We talked about emergency preparedness, all kinds of disaster drills all over the place. We talk about it all. Why? Because we want you to be prepared. That's the ideal situation right here. We want you to be prepared. That's why we talk about everything going on all around us. Everything all around us, guys. That's important. Now, I have some things we need to discuss. Please bear with me on this, okay? Let me bring up some pictures here that I want to show you. I probably should have brought these pictures up before I even got on the air, but I got caught up in a lot of different things. Now we're here on the air with you. Guys, it's important. It's very important. Now, this is January 6th. What happened 5 years ago on January 6th? Does anybody realize what happened 5 years ago on January 6th? The Democrat Party got involved. Okay? First off, President Trump wanted to address the nation. He asked everybody to come to Washington, D.C., but that went haywire. Okay? That went haywire. Yes, there was some violence. Okay? I will agree there was some violence. But when people stormed into the Capitol building, there was absolutely no violence at all, period. Okay? President Trump, when people assembled on the Capitol Hill steps, told people to be sane, told people to be very careful. The FBI had planted 500 people in the Capitol Hill area. People rioted. FBI agents angered people in the crowd purposely. Like I said, there was some violence, minor violence, okay? But once people got into the Capitol building, the Capitol Hill police allowed people to come into the Capitol building. They opened the doors, okay? Nancy Pelosi, good old Nancy Pelosi, what did she do? What did she do? She told the Capitol Hill police, knowing full well that there was people on the grounds of the Capitol. The Capitol Hill police had asked for cover, asked for reinforcements, asked for other police departments and also the National Guard to go to Capitol Hill to help them. They were outnumbered, totally outnumbered. The Capitol Hill police chief said they were getting their butts handed to them. Yet, the Senate Sergeant at Arms took the message from the Capitol Hill police chief asking for reinforcements. He had to do that. He had to take that message to Nancy Pelosi, who is not the minority. She was a Democrat person in charge of the Senate. Okay, Senate Majority Leader. With that information, she denied the Capitol Hill police help. As a result, what happened? What happened? The Capitol got stormed, but once people got into the Capitol, nothing happened. Capitol Hill police opened the doors. Yes, a lot of people came in the Capitol building, but there was no violence. Absolutely no violence. One of the protesters that got in actually offered a prayer at the hill of the Senate. Okay? In the well of the Senate. From the speaker's platform in the Senate building, the Senate auditorium, offered a prayer. If there was going to be any violence, that would not have happened. No violence at all. But over 125 people got arrested. 125 people got arrested on various charges that were trumped up, not by President Trump, but by the Democrat Party. Those people still are in jail. Some of those people are still in jail. But the main characters have been released. They had attorneys. They had to go into debt to hire attorneys to protect them. Unreal. All because Nancy Pelosi and the Democrat Communist Party had to get in the way. They had to try to frame the people that came to see President Trump as shysters. Yeah. paint them as violent individuals. So yes, a lot of people got arrested. Now, up until 2 years ago, I've been very vocal about it. I even played the people that were in prison from January 6th. I played the national anthem that they sung from the federal prison cells. Yeah, they sung the national anthem. I got smacked around by YouTube by playing that. They gave me a copyright strike. Yes, the national anthem is copyrighted. I didn't realize it. I had no clue. But the national anthem was copyrighted. I got beat up about it, unfortunately. Now, why am I talking about it? Today is the anniversary of January 6th. Okay? President Trump is back in office. Okay? Between January 6th, 2020 and the previous November 4th, 2019, what happened? We had an election, didn't we? The Democrats won. That's why Nancy Pelosi, who is in charge of the Senate, made things happen at the Capitol, trying to make President Trump bad, trying to make him look bad. They even had to try to throw him out of the presidency twice. He fought it and he got exonerated. They tried to put him in jail 5 times. They framed him on charges 5 times. He beat the charges, didn't he? Now he's back. He's back in office. President Trump has done the things we've asked him to do. He's back in office today. Unreal, huh? It certainly is. Now, what do you think is happening today in our nation's capital? It's very quiet. It's very quiet because the Democrats are not in charge. The Democrat socialists, the Democrat communists, as I call them, are not in charge. That's what's going on. Okay? We've got relative peace in the Capitol. Yes, we have some protesters. We've talked about that. On Saturday night, Sunday morning, we talked about this last night. The president of Venezuela, President Maduro, was arrested by U.S. military and also by FBI, CIA, and DEA. Homeland Security was also there. They arrested him for drug trafficking, he and his wife. Yesterday, they appeared in court. President Maduro and his wife pleaded not guilty. They have a trial coming up in March. We're going to hear a lot about it in the near future. A lot. I don't think it's going to go away. Okay? But what else is happening on Capitol Hill? Does anybody know what's happening in Washington, D.C. today? Lawmakers have returned to Capitol Hill this week. As of yesterday, they returned to Capitol Hill because they had to go back to work. Had to go back to work. But something else is happening right now. Something else is happening right now. What's going on? Let's talk about it. Lawmakers have returned to Washington, D.C. this week. Immediately, they are being faced with a number of deadlines and outstanding agenda items that they did not get completed before the holiday season. And they are not going to have much time to do anything about it. They're not going to have much time to do anything about it. They have until January 31st. They have until January 31st to get their acts together. They have to come up with another budget. They have to come up with another budget, this time going through next October. Hopefully going through next October, not delaying it as they have in the past. They're not going to have much time to waste. First, lawmakers will have to deal with reverberations from the U.S. attack on Venezuela over the weekend that resulted in the arrest of Maduro and his wife. Top party leaders were briefed by the Trump administration officials Monday evening. But rank-and-file lawmakers, particularly Democrats, are demanding briefings of their own in the coming weeks. The Democrat Party, the Democrat liberal communists of this country, are trying to turn this upside down. Republicans have had mixed reactions to the strikes in Venezuela, as lawmakers were not notified ahead of time, despite only Congress holding the power to declare war. I covered that yesterday as well. The President of the United States can use military action for up to 45 days before he has to go to Congress to officially declare war. He hadn't had to do that. This was not a war, but this was use of military forces for a specific purpose. Republicans noted that they were satisfied with the notification shortly after the strikes were carried out. Notification of Congress is in advance of really critical and hypersensitive missions, to me, seems ill-advised, according to Senator John Thune, who is the Senate Majority Leader. But he said he felt that the notification that they got, considering the scope of the mission, was sufficient, regardless of what the Democrat Party says. The scope of the mission was very significant, was sufficient. As to the coming shutdown, will there be another shutdown? That remains to be seen. But we know what has happened in previous administrations. Yes, they've shut the government down several times in the past years. Lawmakers' biggest task for the month of January, the next 4 weeks, will be avoiding another shutdown at the end of the month. With just 4 working weeks until the government funding deadline, appropriations are facing a time crunch to finish the final 9 spending bills to approve the 2026 fiscal year budget. 9 spending bills. 9 spending bills. Top lawmakers have hoped to make progress on those bills before leaving town, but they were not able to. Their plans were scuttled due to policy disagreements between and within both parties. The government is scheduled to be shut down again at midnight, January 30th, after which funding will have to lapse for a slew of federal agencies again. The House of Representatives is in session for only 12 days. 12 days between now and the deadline. The Senate is in session for 15 days between now and January 30th. Potential shutdown would only close the government partially, as lawmakers passed 3 spending bills at the end of a long closure in November. But it still would pose problems as thousands of government workers would again be furloughed, put out of work, and some federal operations would also come to a halt. Why am I putting that out there? How many within the sound of my voice get Social Security? How many people get Medicare? How many people get disability? Guess what? The federal government, the House and the Senate have to come to some agreements between now and January 30th. They have between 12 and 15 days to do it. Then everything gets thrown in a trash can. They literally have to start over. Party leaders have yet to come to an agreement on a top line number, meaning the total amount of money that will be approved in a final budget. That number is often the most difficult deal to come into contact with. Yes, the most difficult deal. Details in negotiations. As fiscal conservatives, people that want to put a budget on our federal government. They're trying to put a budget on the federal government, similar to what happened in the early 2000s when we had a balanced budget. Yeah. But the Democrats don't like that. The Democrats don't like smaller government. That's why our wonderful guy that bought X, that wonderful guy that came into the government, Doge, and started cutting the budget. Started finding billions of dollars were being misused. Yeah. The Democrats didn't like it. They were protesting. They were throwing up their fingers in the middle of meetings. They were doing all kinds of stuff because they were being held with their feet to the fire. More of that's going to happen. The conservatives of the party, for the most part, are going to try to press for deep cuts that are non-starters for most moderate and progressive members. However, lawmakers made significant progress after releasing 3 of the proposed spending bills on Monday morning. Those spending bills have now been considered as one package, known as a minibus. A minibus. Okay? The nearly $180 billion bill would fund commerce, justice, and water bills for the rest of the fiscal year. A $180 billion spending package would fund commerce, justice, science, interior environment, and energy and water bills for the rest of the fiscal year until October this year. Lying underneath that shutdown fight is a whole other variable that, although separate, could play a major role in spending tasks, healthcare policies, that is going to hold this nation to a whole foot in the door. That foot in the door could close down this country again. I don't think any one of us wants that to happen. Again, what I asked you last November, I'm going to ask you to do again. We basically have 3.5 weeks. 12 days for the House and 15 days for the Senate to call the hotline number. The Washington White House switchboard Ask to speak to your senators. Ask to speak to your representatives, your congressmen and women. Tell them to get the spending bill approved. Tell them to get the spending bill approved and do it immediately. No, we're not asking for another layoff. We're not asking for a government shutdown. We want the cotton picking government to go forward, not backwards. We want the government to go forward and not backwards. Now, I'm going to ask you to call this number, the government switchboard number. Guys, this is the phone number to call for all House members and committees. 202-224-3121. Would somebody please put this number in the chat? To talk to your congressmen and women, and also to talk about your committee members. The White House switchboard number is 202-224-3121. That's what you need to do. Okay? Get out and do that. Call them tonight and tomorrow and every day before the shutdown happens. Because this is exactly what the Democrat Party wants to do, is shut down President Trump's government. Okay? Contact your senators and also contact the House of Representative congressmen. Okay? Call them. Call them. Now you can send them snail mail. You can send them snail mail. When you do that, the office of the senator's name, office of Senator so-and-so, United States Senate, Washington, D.C. The zip code is 20510. 20510. Okay? By telephone, 202-224-3121. Okay? That's the way to get through your congressmen and your senators. Office of Congressman so-and-so. Office of Senator so-and-so. United States Congress or United States Senate. Washington, D.C. 20510. You can also go online to your local congressmen and senators through email. Look them up. Google it, DuckDuckGo it, whatever search engine you use, do that. You can email them as well. They will respond. Someone within their office will respond. But if you want to get up close and personal, and I'm not asking for anybody to cause any trouble with your senators or congressmen. I don't want that. But what we need to do is make sure that we are calling them, making sure we are telling them to get a budget approved before January 31st. Before January 30th, actually, because that will be the day of the shutdown, midnight, January 30th. Again, the telephone number is 205 224-3121. That's the number you call Washington, D.C. to the White House switchboard. Okay? I'm asking you to please do that. Okay? In fact, I put it here in the chat myself. Sorry, it left off. They left off one of the twos here. Hold on. There it is right there. Heather's got it, and I just put it up as well. 202-224-3121. You got it. You got it. Any questions about that? Okay. Again, their main part of what they want to go through and get some resolution to is healthcare. Because the Obama healthcare system has now expired. The Obama healthcare system has expired as of this week. No longer viable. Before that, it was on life support. But the main shutdown fight is a whole variable, whole nother variable. But it's going to play a major role in spending talks, the healthcare policy. Congress adjourned in December without passing legislation addressing the COVID era enhanced Obamacare subsidies, resulting in their expiration on Thursday at the start of the new year. But there's plenty of movement from all corners of Capitol Hill on how to avoid drastic spending increases for those who rely on tax credits, with lawmakers who privately viewing the end of the month as the actual point of no return. The House will vote on a clean 3-year extension when it returns, after a handful of centrist Republicans rebelled against GOP leadership to sign a petition forcing a vote on the measure this past November. If those GOP moderates remain in line with the Democrats, the bill will likely pass the House of Representatives, Congress, but its future in the Senate is unclear. A similar 3-year extension bill was already failed to pass this past December. Maybe they can pass it this time, so we don't have to go through this again. Now, people are asking, is everything okay with weather? She's working on it, guys. There is weather coming into the Pacific Northwest. That weather coming into the Pacific Northwest is going to be dumping rain in the lower elevations of Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, North and South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, even over Oklahoma. But the higher elevations are going to get snow. However, this week, temperatures in the northern tier of the United States are going to get blasted with heat. Not snow, heat. North and South Dakota may face temperatures in the 50s and maybe 60s this week. Yeah, this week. But after that, the whole ball is going to drop down. The whole ball will drop out, period. Temperatures then are going to get very cold. Let me back out on this map. Let me show you what's going on here. Canada is always going to be cold, but even southern Canada is going to feel some warming going on. The upper tier of the United States here is going to feel temperatures in the 50s. 2 weeks ago here in North Dakota, minus 30 below zero. South Dakota, Montana, Wyoming, the same thing. Minnesota, Michigan, Iowa, Illinois, Ohio, going east, below zero temperatures. During the next few days, things are going to turn around. They're going to feel spring-like, but it's only through the end of the week. Then look out. Now, Heather is saying in the chat that the tornado risk is back on the table. She's absolutely right. Areas of Illinois, Iowa, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, Missouri, Texas, Mississippi, Louisiana. You guys are going to see tornado warnings again. The present weather system that's coming in is going to cause tornadoes. That's what happens when we have such drastic temperature changes. It can happen. They're already in the forecast. It's already in the forecast, even starting tomorrow. But again, after this weekend, temperatures are going back down in the toilet. We're going to see near zero temperatures, possibly even below zero temperatures, possibly by Sunday in the northern tier states and also in Canada. Snow is coming to the highest elevations of Washington, Oregon, and California, the Sierra Mountains. Storms coming in. Storms coming in. The Rocky Mountains are also going to see increased snow. But after this heat wave goes through, it's all going to go for naught. Here on the East Coast, yesterday here in North Carolina, we saw temperatures in the 50s. Yes, it got down to freezing at night. But during the next 3 days, low temperatures are going to be in the 40s and back up even into 72, 73 by Friday on the East Coast. In Washington, in New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, they had snow. Now all that's going to melt. But the snow is going to return. The snow will return, guys. It's literally when. They don't know when yet, but it's going to return. But guys, I'm just putting this out there to help Renee and Heather with the weather this week. It's going to get mean. It's going to get mean. Yes, we're going to see warmer temperatures, but the weather's going to get mean. Tornado watches and tornado warnings are going to go into effect starting even possibly tonight, going into tomorrow. Be aware of that. High winds as well and heavy rain. Going to happen. Going to happen. Hurricane Heather says, along with the warm temperatures, though, expecting to destabilize the atmosphere and could cause severe weather. You're right. You're right. I've been seeing that on the weather forecast myself. Now, down below this video today, down below this video that you're watching today, in the top of our program description, okay, you're going to see ways to contact us. Our PayPal, our email address, our mailing address is there. Below that are addresses you can go to get information for what's happening, what things we talk about. United States National Weather Service, U.S. Weather Service is also there. Okay? But below that, we have information to go to when it comes to getting information about the weather. Okay? All that information is down there. Okay? Down in the program description, we also have Ryan Hall here on YouTube. He did a great video about what's going to happen. I urge everybody to watch that. Okay, please do. That will give you a good idea what's happening. In this case, Hurricane Heather put in the chat, warm weather is not your friend. She's right. Not this time. Not this time of year necessarily. Because things are going to turn around. It's not going to be good. Okay? But down in our program description, we have websites you can get information from. The College of Dupage has satellite images that will give you up-to-the-minute information. If you can understand what it says, it'll show cloud cover. They also have links there where you can turn that cloud cover into pertinent information about what's actually going on the ground. Yeah, it's great information. So please, guys, do source that information for yourselves. That's going to help you. Okay. Now getting back to here. Off the coast of Oregon today, on the Blanco fracture zone, right near the Juan de Fuca Fault, we have a 3.7 small earthquake. 3.7 small earthquake off the coast of Oregon here. That's right next to the Juan de Fuca Fault. This is the first time in a long time that we've had an earthquake in this location. Most other earthquakes are further to the southeast on the Blanco fracture zone. This one is on the Blanco fracture zone, but it's right next to the Juan de Fuca Fault that is connected directly with the Cascadia subduction zone. Now, while the USBS is not showing earthquakes here on the Cascadia subduction zone or other earthquakes over in Washington and Oregon, be advised, those earthquakes are still happening, regardless of the fact whether USGS wants to show them or not. Earthquakes are still happening here. I want to make that point perfectly clear here. Earthquakes are still here. Up here, Mount Rainier, they're not showing not one. Not one. Usually they show microquakes. They're not even showing that today. Not one earthquake here. But Mount Rainier is getting hammered. Mount Rainier is getting hammered. Down here at Mount St. Helens, Mount St. Helens is also getting hit. But USGS, northwest of Mount St. Helens, has this 0.3 microquake. 7 miles south-southwest of Morganton, Washington. Oh my gosh. Oh my golly gee. They're showing a microquake. Yes, there are microquakes going on at Mount Rainier, Mount St. Helens. But there are also minor earthquakes, 2.0, 2.9. There are also 3.0 to 3.6 earthquakes happening at Mount Rainier and Mount St. Helens. Remember that. 2 weekends ago, I had the opportunity to speak with a USGS representative, and they said they put up earthquakes on the map as often as they possibly can when they find information. That's interesting because the information exists. They are still not showing the information. They say Mount Rainier and Mount St. Helens are not anywhere near possibly erupting, and they are. They are. Further southwest of Mount St. Helens here, this is a 0.8 microquake, 5 miles west-southwest of Coloma, Washington. Coloma, Washington. Why are they not showing actual earthquakes along the coast, in the Puget Sound region, or even the volcanoes? Why are they not showing information in Oregon? They're not. Not one single earthquake is being shown in Washington, Oregon, or even Northern California. None. None. Off the coast of Northern California, on the Gorda Escarpment, west of the Triple Junction here, we have a 2.8 minor earthquake here. West of the Triple Junction with the Cascadia subduction zone and the San Andreas Fault. North of there, on land here, on land, Willow Creek, California had a 2.0 minor earthquake. 2.0 minor earthquake. For the south, Laytonville, California, 2.3 earthquake. Fascinating. Very fascinating, guys. Why am I saying that? Look where that earthquake is. On the Rogers Fault. The Rogers Fault is connected further south with the Hayward Fault. Redwood Valley here, 1.2 tremor. Fascinating. Look at this. The geysers. The geysers. We have earthquakes every day here in the geysers. That's because men have drilled into the upper magma chambers of the Clear Lake volcano to obtain steam. They transport the steam from the upper magma chambers of the volcano to turbines. Turbines. Here in Sonoma County, California, the hills of Sonoma County, wine country. Alongside each one of these roads here, alongside each one of these roads are PVC pipe, carrying hot steam away from the upper magma chambers of the volcano to turbine facilities in the geysers facility here, all day long. This is just one example of a turbine facility here. There are 81 turbines in the hills of Sonoma County, California. It's called the Geysers Electrical Facility. 4 energy conglomerates take power from the geysers to power California and also Utah. Pacific Gas and Electric, Southern California Edison, and Rocky Mountain Power. And I don't remember the other energy conglomerate, but those are just 3 of the 4. Energy generated here is carried all over the western U.S. Okay? For the south here, let's take a look at this. Okay? Santa Rosa got hit with some earthquakes. USGS not saying word one about it. Not word one about it. Earthquakes around Santa Rosa, California. Still hitting. Tremors, minor earthquakes for the most part. We go down here at San Francisco Bay. We have an earthquake here in the bay. In the bay. A 2.6 earthquake. Minor earthquake. 4 miles west-northwest of Bayview, Montalban, California. Montalban, California. 2.6 earthquake here. Of course, they're not going to show all the other earthquakes here. There are earthquakes here. There are earthquakes all over this area. They're not going to show you. But there are earthquakes all over this area, including over here in this same area that's been hit over and over and over again for the past 3 months. San Ramon, California. San Ramon, California. And they don't want anybody to know about it. Interesting. I'm not showing any earthquakes here except that one in San Francisco Bay. We go south of Monterey Bay here. The Pinnacles on the San Andreas Fault. The Pinnacles is also an oil and gas producer here. They have oil and gas pumps and jacks. 1.8 tremor here. Further south here is San Bernardino, California. 1.6 tremor here. Earthquake capital of the world. Earthquake capital of California. 1.7 tremor here in Parkfield, California. Parkfield, California. Earthquakes are still hitting here in Los Angeles, but USGS doesn't want to show what's actually going on. We'll talk about Southern California tomorrow. Talk about Southern California tomorrow. Let's go over here to the Western Pacific. Going over here off of the southeast side of Kamchatka Peninsula, Russia. Earthquakes here are aftershocks of an 8.8, 9.4 earthquake that hit here last November. This is a 5.2 large aftershock. Nobody felt this earthquake because it was offshore from Kamchatka Peninsula, 96 miles east of Kamchatka Peninsula. This earthquake at the shoreline was a 4.8 moderate earthquake. Anybody living in this area probably felt that earthquake. But again, Kamchatka Peninsula is very sparsely populated. Hardly anybody lives in this area. Okay, let's go south. The Sea of Okhotsk. Okay, this earthquake happened yesterday. 5.1 earthquake. Down here off the northeast shore of Honshu, Japan. This earthquake also hit. Okay, hit yesterday. Last night, 4.5 moderate earthquake here. Just barely offshore, 25 miles north of Kuji, Japan. This earthquake further north is a 4.8 moderate earthquake here. I don't think anybody felt this earthquake, but they may have felt this other earthquake right here to the south, right here, because this was only 25 miles offshore. They may have felt some rumbling underneath their feet. They definitely did not feel the full brunt of a moderate earthquake, which can knock books and knickknacks off of shelves, knock pictures off of walls. Not here today or yesterday. These earthquakes, for the most part, had their seismic energy kept in the water, absorbed by the water here in the Western Pacific. Let's go further south. Southwestern Japan. Here in southwestern Japan, there's a problem right here. This is a large 5.0 earthquake. This is a much larger, very strong 5.7 earthquake. This 5.7 earthquake was downgraded to 5.7 from 6.4. This earthquake was downgraded from 6.4 to 5.7. Interesting. Everybody in this area felt this earthquake, and yes, there's some damage here. There's some damage. I don't know of any injuries yet, but there is some damage in the cities in this area. This is a 4.5 earthquake here. Guys, these earthquakes are right next to major cities here in Japan. Major city right here. Huge city right here. Huge populace. Over here to the north here. Huge city, huge populace here. They felt this 5.7 earthquake. They felt this 5.7 earthquake. Like I said, I know there's damage, but I don't know the extent of the damage as of yet. We will get that information, pass it on to you. Japan is used to being hit with these kinds of earthquakes. Yes, they have some damage. I don't know to the extent of any injuries yet. But again, this was downgraded from a 6.4. I checked the back seismology study page about this earthquake. Guys, I do not think it was a 6.4, but there's a very good chance it was a 6.2. There is a very good chance it was a 6.2. I saw a seismograph that recorded a 6.7. I saw a seismograph reading that recorded a 6.7 earthquake, but it was only one reading. Most of the others were high fives and low sixes. 5.6, 5.7, 5.8, 5.9, 6.0, 6.1, 6.2, and 6.3. I believe this earthquake that struck here in southern Japan was actually a 6.2 earthquake. 6.2 earthquake. Very strong earthquake here. Very strong earthquake here. Kitty Haven is asking, she missed a notification about Tennessee. Is Tennessee still shaking? No, it's not. Tennessee has had some minor earthquakes. 2.0, 2.2, 2.3 earthquakes. They had a bunch of tremors as well in the Tennessee seismic zone. But there's no real shaking going on where people would feel it and there would be damage. That's not the case. Not the case at all. Further south here, okay, south of Japan. This is a large 5.0 earthquake here in the Bonin Islands, the Bonin Islands here, south of Japan. I believe for the most part nobody lives here in the Bonin Islands, but this is a 5.0 earthquake here in the Bonin Islands belonging to Japan. Further south here, this is a large earthquake, 5.0 earthquake, 162 miles north of Saipan, Northern Mariana Islands. Nobody even was near this earthquake either. There's no damage from this earthquake at all. The ocean waters absorbed the shock waves from this quake. For the south here, this is a large 5.2 earthquake. Southwest of Guam. Southwest of Guam. I believe this earthquake was not felt by anybody on the island. It's 113 miles southwest of Guam. The ocean waters of the Pacific Ocean absorbed the shockwaves of this quake. Okay? Those are the large earthquakes here. Now, be advised, the Philippines have earthquakes. Okay? This is the second day when USGS decides they're not going to show readings here in the Philippines. I'm going to do it. I'm going to show readings in the Philippines because I was notified by a friend of mine who lives in the Philippines. They want to see these. They want to see these guys. So we're going to show them to you right now. They are being affected by earthquakes, whether USGS has them or not. Rarely do they ever show those. Sad day. Sad day. Now, look at this, guys. Central and southern Philippines here. West Central Philippines. Let's look at this earthquake first. Okay? This is near Hinoboa. Hinoba, Philippines. This is a small 3.2 earthquake. Small 3.2 earthquake here. Going to the eastern shore of Central Philippines here. Okay? Off of Mindanao, Philippines. Northern side of Mindanao, Philippines. This is a small 3.0 earthquake. Small 3.0. In the islands here, north of Mindanao, Philippines, this is a 3.1 small earthquake here. South there on the Philippine Fault, this is a small 3.8 earthquake. 3.8 earthquake. Further south, off the side of Mindanao, Philippines to the east, this is a moderate 2.0 earthquake. Moderate 2.0 earthquake, guys. Then further south of Mindanao, Philippines, still in the Philippines. Okay, this is a 3.7 earthquake here in the water. These earthquakes in the water, they are not being felt on the island. The seismic energy is being absorbed by the water of the Pacific Ocean. Okay? Further south from there, the Balut Island. Balut Island, B-A-L-U-T Island. 3.2 earthquake here. So we have one 4.0 and the rest are 3.0 to 3.8. Small earthquakes. A moderate earthquake and a small earthquake. Now, let's go into Indonesia here. Look at earthquakes here in Indonesia. All kinds of quakes. All kinds of quakes here. Go to off the coast of northern Sumatra in the Nicobar Islands. Nicobar Islands belong to India. This is a 4.1 earthquake here. Further south on Sumatra, Indonesia, we have a 3.0. South there, a 2.7. Here, I'm going to go from north to south from this 2.7. I'm going to show you a 2.5, a 3.2, a 3.6, a 3.2, and a 3.5. Small earthquakes here in Sumatra, Indonesia. Going over Java, Indonesia. Java, Indonesia. 2.7 minor earthquake. South, on the south side of Java, 2.5, 2.5 right there. Go a little bit further east, still at Java, Indonesia. 3 earthquakes in line, west-east. 2.5, 3.0, another 2.5. 2.5, 3.0, another 2.5. South there, in the ocean. 2.9, 3.3, 3.0, and 2.5. Small and 1 minor earthquake there. Let's go over to east of Java. East-west here. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20 earthquakes here. 20 earthquakes. They range in size from a 2.5 to 3.8. 2.5 to 3.8. Okay? Over here in the Banda Sea, we have 5 more earthquakes here. 5 more earthquakes here in the Banda Sea. 4.1, moderate earthquake. 4.2, 3.8, 4.0, and 3.9. Small and moderate earthquakes here in the Banda Sea. We go north. Seram, Indonesia, 2.6, 2.5. North of Seram, Indonesia, 2 more earthquakes here. Actually 3. 4.4, 2.7, and 3.2. 4.4, 2.7, and 3.2. All over Indonesia. Interesting. How about northern Indonesia? 4.4 moderate earthquake. 3.0. 3.0. And another 3.0. We have a 4.4 and 2 3s there. Okay? Let's go west, east. 3.8. Further east, northern Indonesia. We have a 2.5, 2.5 in Maluku, Indonesia, and a 2.9, 3.0. Interesting. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, 42, 44, 46, 48, 50, 52, 53, 54, 56, 58, 60, 62, 63 earthquakes in Indonesia. 63 earthquakes in Indonesia, and USGS shows none. 63 earthquakes. This is why the USGS can get away with saying, oh, there's only 235 earthquakes worldwide. These 63 earthquakes added to that would make it 300. We know we have 400 earthquakes every day in Los Angeles. We have 500 earthquakes in the Imperial Valley. Where's that take us now? Now we are almost at 1,500 earthquakes. Really? 1,500 earthquakes. But there's another large earthquake. Afghanistan. 5.2 earthquake in Afghanistan here. 5.2 earthquake in Afghanistan. Interesting. Very interesting. What are they showing us? They want to show us 2 earthquakes. Here's that 5.2 in Afghanistan. Here's a 4.4. Interesting enough. But they missed another 7 earthquakes. 7 more earthquakes here. Aftershocks. Aftershocks of the 5.2 earthquake. To the northwest, 3.3. To the west, Tajikistan, a 3.0. 3.0. South there, 2 more earthquakes here, a 3.3 and a 3.7. South there, 3 more earthquakes. 4.0, actually 4 earthquakes. 4.0, a 4.4, a 3.6, another 4.6 earthquake here. Aftershocks. Aftershocks of the 5.2 earthquake. It's obvious that USGS does not care about anybody here. In this region, large earthquakes can do a lot of damage and they can kill people. Large earthquakes, no matter what they call them, are going to kill people. They're calling them moderate earthquakes. Moderate earthquakes here can kill people. These people hardly have a life. They live in mud huts and mud buildings. When large earthquakes like this come along, they collapse the buildings. They don't have reinforced concrete structures. They don't have reinforced anything. That's what happens here in Afghanistan, Tajikistan, and even over here in Western China. Yeah, we've seen it happen here before. Now, let's go over here to Iran. They're showing us 1 earthquake here in Iran. This is a 4.5 earthquake here. 6.2 kilometers deep, 10 kilometers deep. We know for a fact there are more earthquakes here, but they don't want to show us. Look at the earthquakes in this region. Hold on a second. Let me set this up. USGS is not showing any earthquakes here. Really? Over 100 earthquakes here. 100 earthquakes. Why? The answer is simple. Back 3 years ago, February 3rd, 2023, we had a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake right here in this region. 5,000 people were killed. 5,000 more people were injured. But they're not showing any earthquakes here at all. They're not showing any earthquakes here at all. Yes, we're seeing 1.7s, tremors. We're seeing 2.0 minor earthquakes. We're seeing 3.0, 3.5, 4.5 earthquakes in this area. They don't want to show them. Heaven forbid they show anything here. Heaven forbid they show anything here. This is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Over 100 earthquakes in this region, they show us none. Not a thing. All over Turkey. Literally all over Turkey, earthquakes north and south, east and west. They don't show us any at all. Here's Turkey. Look at that. All over Turkey, earthquakes. Greece, earthquakes. 18 earthquakes here in Greece. 1.0, 1.6, 1.7, 2.0, 2.5, and even 3.5 earthquake here. Greece. Greece. Albania to the north. 2.8 earthquake here. 2.8 earthquake. Fancy that. Italy. Southern Italy and Sicily. Look at this. All kinds of earthquakes. Over here in northern Sicily, 1.8 and 1.6 tremors here. Nobody felt those earthquakes. 1.6 and 1.7 earthquake tremors there. Southern Italy, in the toe of the boot, 1.7 tremor here. Let's go to the ankle of the boot. 2.5 minor earthquake. 2.5. To the heel of the boot. We have a 1.4 tremor there. The heel of the boot. Italy looks like a boot. That's why we say that. The country of Italy looks like a great big boot. Near Vesuvius volcano. Near Vesuvius volcano, guys. Let's take you there. They're not showing any earthquakes whatsoever here in Italy. Over here near Vesuvius volcano, they are getting earthquakes. They're being hit. USGS shows nothing here. I'm going to show you 3 earthquakes here. This is a 1.3 tremor. Right next to it, a 2.5 and a 3.1 earthquake. 3.1 earthquakes can be felt. 3.1 earthquakes can be felt here in Naples, Italy. Vesuvius volcano is active. Vesuvius volcano is steaming here and is getting hit with earthquakes, whether USGS wants to admit it or not. It's getting hit. Let's go north. South central Italy. 18 earthquakes here. Most of these earthquakes are just tremors, 1.0 to 1.1. 1.9 was right there. This is a 1.9. Okay. This is a 1.6. Going north. +20 earthquakes right there. When we have swarms, we usually say that within a very short time of these swarms, there's going to be a much larger, stronger quake. That's the case. Every time we see these swarms, we get a 5.0 earthquake within months. Within months of these earthquake swarms. 5.0 large earthquake here. USGS shows nothing. Not a single thing here in Italy. Not a thing. Now, let's go up to the northeastern Italian Alps. Here's a 1.2 tremor here. 1.2 tremor here in the Italian Alps. Further south, Croatia. 1.3 tremor in Croatia. South there, also in Croatia, a 3.0 earthquake. 3.0 earthquake. Interesting. Over in the resort areas of Italy, Piedmont, Italy, 1.2 tremor here. North there in the Swiss Alps, this is a 0.3 microquake. The Swiss Alps, a 0.3 microquake. Now, while there may not be interest in that, guess what? Earthquakes in France. 2.0 earthquake there in southern France. Southern France, a 2.0 earthquake. That's in the Rhone Alps. The Rhone Alps. Further to the north, Préjure Nouvelle Aquin, France, a 2.3 earthquake here. 2.3 earthquake there. Why am I showing you these? Spain. Look at the earthquakes here in Spain and Portugal. Again, USGS not showing a darn thing. Southern Spain, 2.1, 2.1, and 1.7 tremor right there. South there, 1.6, 1.7, 1.8, 1.9, 2.0 earthquake there. Tremors and one minor earthquake. Tremors and one minor earthquake right there. Further to the south, near the Strait of Gibraltar, 2.9, 3.0. Over on the northern tip of Africa, Morocco, near the Strait of Gibraltar, another 2.5 earthquake here. We're not done yet. Portugal, Santarém, Portugal, 2.3 earthquake. 1.5 tremor. Northern Portugal, 2.0 earthquake here. Earthquakes happen, guys. Earthquakes happen. Yesterday here in Ethiopia, down here in Ethiopia, we had a 3.5 earthquake over here on this earthquake fault. Guys, this is the same fault zone that they are saying is going to rip this area out from Africa. It's a rip zone. Great big huge rip zone here in Ethiopia. 3.5 earthquake yesterday. Okay. There's more. Southeastern Norway. 1.4 tremor here. Up in the Norwegian Sea, south of Svalbard, we have a 3.1 earthquake here. South of Svalbard, a 3.1 earthquake. Iceland, the Bardabunga volcano. Bardabunga volcano ice sheet. 2.5 earthquake right there. At the other volcanoes south, they're also under ice. Basar, 2.0 earthquake here. Over on the north, I shouldn't even say this. This is not north, this is southwestern Iceland. Southwestern Iceland. Helsingdar. This is a 2.3 earthquake here. 2.3 earthquake. USGS not showing anything. Not showing anything up here just south of Svalbard either. Interesting. Portugal. Oh, not Portugal, I'm sorry. Puerto Rico. Boy, that was a flippant remark. Calling Puerto Rico Portugal. Not anywhere close to it. North of Puerto Rico here, just south of the Cayman Ridge. South of the Cayman Ridge here. Earthquakes. Earthquake skies. There's a swarm of them. There's a swarm. Let me show you this. This is a 3.0 earthquake. This red one here just happened. This is a 3.0 earthquake here. Guys, these earthquakes were dropped by the Cayman Ridge. These earthquakes came from the Cayman Ridge from Guatemala. The Cayman Ridge originates over here in Guatemala. Then goes through all of the Caribbean here. Goes through all the Caribbean here. Let me show you this. Passes the Cayman Islands. Continues eastbound. Goes north of Jamaica here. Continue eastbound into Cuba, southern Cuba. Continues eastbound over Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Continues its eastward climb through the Caribbean Sea out here to the Atlantic Ocean. Then goes out here past the Leeward Islands into the Atlantic Ocean. Goes south. Continues south here until it gets over here to Venezuela. Then it turns west into Venezuela. Yes, we get earthquakes here. But again, you probably won't see them on the USGS map. Over here in Puerto Rico. Actually, there's one more earthquake I want to show you here. Dropped here by the Cayman Ridge. 3.1 earthquake here. Southwest of Puerto Rico. We're still having aftershocks here. Aftershocks from an earthquake that happened here 7 years ago. 7 years ago, December 26 and 28. 8.0, 8.4 earthquake here. Man-made earthquake. Man-made earthquake. Today, we're still seeing aftershocks from those earthquakes. This one here to the south is a 2.3 earthquake near Indios, Puerto Rico. North of there, 2.4 earthquake at Indios, Puerto Rico, in Indios, Puerto Rico. This northern one here, a 2.4 also north of Indios, Puerto Rico here. These earthquakes all are aftershocks of those 8.0 and 8.4 earthquakes that hit here December 26th and December 28th, 2019. Man-made earthquakes. man-made earthquake skies. Incredible. Wild, in fact. Wild. Let's go over here. This is the southern shores of Lake Erie. Southern shores of Lake Erie, we have another 2.6 earthquake here. Why? Why? Yes, there is a fault here going through Lake Erie, but this earthquake has nothing to do with that. But this earthquake has everything to do with the salt mines. Yes, there are salt mines that are being mined here at the edge of Lake Erie here. This is a 2.6 earthquake here caused by mining of the salt here at Lake Erie. 2.6 earthquake here. Okay. Later this week, we're going to talk about the New Madrid Fault again. Earthquakes continue to happen in Oklahoma. Fracking earthquakes. 358,000 pumps and jacks. 358,000 oil and gas pumps and jacks in Oklahoma by itself. This is a 2.8 earthquake here. Sparks, Oklahoma. I'm going to show this. I'm going to zoom in here and show you what's going on here. Why? Because we've never seen an earthquake here in Sparks before. That's why we're visiting here. Want to see what's going on. If we have an earthquake anywhere within 6 to 10 miles of an oil and gas rig, it's an oil and gas quake. This is an oil and gas quake. This is an oil and gas quake. Right here is an oil and gas plot right there. Oil and gas being pumped out of there. Further south, another oil and gas plot here. It's not over. What's going on up here? More oil and gas plots here throughout this entire area. These are fracking earthquakes. Fracking earthquakes here in Oklahoma. Texas. Who knows how many pumps and jacks are here in Texas? Probably over 500,000 pumps and jacks. Everything's bigger in Texas. Fracking earthquakes here in Texas as well. Southwestern Texas. Southwestern Texas here. We have swarms of earthquakes hitting here now. In the past 7 years, we started out with just hit and miss tremors here. Now we're having swarms of earthquakes here in southwestern Texas. Fracking quakes. Fracking quakes. This earthquake is a 1.5 tremor. This earthquake is a 1.9, 2.0 earthquake here. Minor earthquake. Fracking quake. Up here in the north. 2.1 minor earthquake. To the south, 1.0 tremor. This is also 2.0 earthquake here. Fracking earthquakes, oil and gas, all over this region. Literally all over southwestern Texas. Oil and gas quakes here. Okay? That's what's happening. That's what's going on. Do we have any questions? I've taken you on a quick tour of the world. I've shown you earthquakes all over the place. I've shown you earthquakes in the Pacific Northwest. I've shown you earthquakes in California. I've shown you earthquakes here in the United States and all over the world. We have more. We have a few more things to talk about here. Yes, we've talked about weather as well. Now, let's continue this discussion. Venezuela. We talked about the United States Senate and the House of Representatives not having passed a spending bill. they're going to be in trouble in another 3 weeks. Let's see what happens. As you know, we took the president of Venezuela and his wife into custody. They're now in a federal penitentiary in northern New York. Okay? Venezuela still remains tense. Following the ouster of Nicolas Maduro, overnight, live ammunition was fired in Caracas, the capital. Security forces were seen patrolling the streets of Caracas. Gunfire and anti-aircraft fire were reported overnight over the capital, Caracas. Venezuelans themselves are trying to regain some semblance of normalcy. They are seeing price gouging going on. They're seeing rising hunger because the former president, or the deposed president, I should say, didn't have much sense to make sure people were fed. Widespread hunger in the wake of the military operation. President Trump has said he's going to control Venezuela until Venezuela can control itself again. Now, Vice President Vance, let's talk about him. On Sunday, Vice President Vance's home in Cincinnati, Ohio, was burglarized. Yeah, burglarized. U.S. Secret Service personnel captured a 26-year-old man who allegedly attacked the Cincinnati home of Vice President J.D. Vance and his wife Sunday night, early Monday morning. The vice president indicated that he and his family were not home at the time. They had already returned to Washington. While the Vance family was in Cincinnati last week, they reportedly left on Sunday afternoon before the attack. Hamilton County, Ohio Justice Center records indicate that the suspect, William DeFoor, D-E-F-O-O-R, William DeFoor, he's been charged with criminal trespass, criminal damaging or endangering, obstructing official business, and felony vandalism. 2 law enforcement officials in Cincinnati who spoke on condition of anonymity indicated that the Secret Service heard a commotion at the house around midnight and found that an individual had not only vandalized a Secret Service vehicle that was parked in the driveway, but they had also smashed a window and were attempting to steal into the house. Vice President Vance expressed gratitude to the U.S. Secret Service and the Cincinnati police and noted, "As far as I can tell, a crazy person tried to break in by hammering the windows." The suspect, who's been since taken into custody by the Cincinnati Police Department. He was spotted by both the Secret Service and Cincinnati Police on security Secret Service footage from the house, damaging 4 windows, along with the Secret Service vehicle. U.S. Secret Service spokesman Anthony Guglielmi said that the suspect was detained shortly after midnight, Monday morning. Court documents that I obtained indicate that Mr. DeFoor pleaded guilty in April 2025 to 2 counts of vandalism after he inflicted over $2,000 worth of damage to an Ohio interior design company. $2,000 worth of damage. 2 counts of vandalism. Probably felony damage. Felony damage. $2,000 is a felony. The four had been sentenced to 2 years of treatment at a mental health facility, and he was ordered to pay $5,550 in restitution. Interesting. Why was he out of jail? Why was the four out of jail? Two years of treatment at a mental health institution, and he was out on foot himself. Why was he out of custody? Now, this is hardly the first time that a maladjusted individual has descended on one of President Vance's residences. Last April, a mob of liberals raided outside Vice President Vance's home in Washington. They vilified him, calling him a fascist, as well as America's Himmler, referring to Nazi architect Heinrich Himmler. 1 month earlier, another mob of liberals assembled outside Vice President Cincinnati's home to protest actions taken by the Trump administration. What other presidency has ever had this happen? Never. Never. Never during the vice president, or I should say vice president, President Biden's administration. Never happened. It never happened during Obama's administration. It never ever happened during Bush's administration before that. Never happened. Only President Trump and President Vance. The liberals can't stand conservative people. Unreal. Unreal. Now, guys, I was asked to talk about water storage. This is a preparedness channel. So yes, I'm going to talk about water storage next. Water storage is important. Yes, guys, we have problems. We have real problems. If you don't store water very soon, you're going to be in some kind of trouble. You're going to start seeing trouble. Why? Because, guys, prices are going to go up again. Water is hard to come by. Yes, we have water running out of our faucets. But what happens when that water supply is cut? What happens when our water supply is cut? Let's talk about it. I want to talk about the best water storage containers to get us through a natural disaster or a man-made disaster or any other kind of disaster. Whether you're waiting out of a prolonged natural disaster or need to take it with you during an evacuation, I have some options for you. During natural disasters, blackouts, or a water advisory issued by your local government, having access to fresh potable water is an absolute necessity. No one individual can get by without water for more than 2 to 3 days. After that, you get weak, you get disoriented, and then you die. Fact. Fact. In addition to your other emergency supplies we talk about frequently, like food and a generator, water storage containers are essential for maintaining your health and your wellness for as long as the emergency situation exists. They happen. Emergency situations happen very often. Best water storage containers vary from compact solutions suitable for urban dwellers, people in homes, condominiums, and even apartments. Here in Morganton, North Carolina, in the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains, we have water storage here. Yeah, we do. We have 5 5-gallon containers, a 50-gallon container on our patio. Yeah. We also have gallon jugs full of water. Tap water. Why? Because that water we have for flushing toilets, for cleaning, and or drinking during an emergency situation. That's what we have. Regardless of your needs, I have some ideas on how you can store water in your home and how you can handle the water if you have to get to an evacuation center. Okay? Now, I've paid close attention to key considerations such as durability of the water container. I want to make sure the water container will hold over time. I want to make sure the water will handle capacity water. In this case, at least 5 gallons of water at a time. I told you about the 50-gallon barrel we have in our backyard on our patio. Years ago, I made a X-class holding container or holding idea for the container to keep it off the ground. I put it in a big X like this on either end of the container. Two befores, holding that 50 gallons of water off the ground. On the one end, I have a spigot. I can turn it off and on. On the other end, I have a hose bib where I can run a hose from the house out to this barrel to fill it with water. When an emergency situation happens, I can stop the water supply by just going to that back side of my house and turning the supply off. Then I have 50 gallons of fresh water outside. I've got a spigot there where I can turn it on and off and get water from the 50-gallon container, can I? In our storage unit we have here as well, we have an attached storage unit. We have gallons of water. We have probably 30 gallons of water. And I'm talking plastic jugs of water. We have another 25 gallons of water in 5-gallon containers. 5-gallon containers. Okay? This is just one idea I have for you right here. This is just one idea here. There's another here. Let me show you this. Right here. This is a 5-gallon container similar to what we have here. This is a 5-gallon container right here. This is great. Look at the top. It's got a wide mouth where you can add water to the container. It's also got a spigot on it, doesn't it? Where you can drip water out of it or spray water out of it into a cup or other container to use it. We have one of those here. We have 5 of them. 5 of them. This is just one idea here that I've given you. Okay? These have rugged durability. They're food safe. Food safe construction. These are the best emergency water storage containers you can buy. Yes, for as little as $8, you can buy a 50-gallon blue container. 50-gallon blue container. But for the money, these are the best way to store water in containers. They're one, safe, They're durable, they're not going to leak. And you can keep water safe for drinking. Yes, occasionally, maybe every 6 months, you need to add a teaspoon of bleach to the water to keep it drinkable and usable. Natural disasters such as earthquakes, hurricanes, tornadoes, other storms, or natural man-made disasters can leave your city without water, without even a backup water. Okay? But you need a supply of water. And otherwise, you'll become very vulnerable to dehydration, even death. Given the importance of clean drinking water, investing in a supply of emergency water containers is just one more important thing that you need to have in your emergency preparedness kit. In your emergency preparedness kit, my kit is backpacks and totes. But other than that, we have these water containers to help us get to where we need to go. Yes, the 50-gallon container we're not going to be able to take with us, but we have it here where we live. Yes, we can transport it in a truck if we have to. But emergency water containers should be specifically designed to safely store clean drinking water. They come in a range of types and sizes, from compact and portable options for those on the move to large storage tanks like the one we have, for those that are going to hunker down. These containers also allow you to focus on other emergency preparation tasks in the event of an advancing storm or hurricane or other kind of emergency. You can't ignore it, but you also don't want to wait in long lines at the grocery store either. Now, I've shown you these things. I have rounded these pictures up so you know what's available. Okay? I've given you options now for almost every kind of situation except for one. I'm going to give you that option right now. That's a life straw. Life straw. These range in cost from anywhere from $4.88 to $19.98, from $4.88 to $19.98. These life straws will purify up to 10,000 gallons of water. 10,000 gallons of water. Fact. Some life straws are only good for 1,000 gallons. Now, I want to tell you my criteria for water. Number one, the containers must hold water. Number two, they must be BPA-free water container, meaning they're not going to cause cancer. They also need to be a good value for the price. These 5-gallon containers you can get for as little as $10 or $11. A wide mouth. A wide mouth so you can put water in it or get water out of it. And even a hideaway spigot that I've shown you here. They also need to be convenient for shape for storage. They have to have a convenient shape for storage. When considering water storage containers suitable for emergency preparedness, I focus primarily on functionality, sustainability, and practicality. Furthermore, since needs for water storage differ, I also factored in additional features such as portability, filtration, and storage. For extreme emergencies, I've given you the possibility to have not just portability, but a life straw, where you can dip it in contaminated water and suck out clean, potable water that will keep you alive. Your water containers must be strong enough to withstand a 4-foot drop. Having the water containers fall off of another container or fall out of your hands. A 5-gallon water container can be a little bit heavy, 40, 50 pounds. Be careful with it. I've given you some options that will help prepare you. Strong enough to withstand a 4-foot drop and heavy pressure as well. These containers here are single-piece construction. Doesn't have seams. Doesn't have seams that could leak or even split. I've given you options to have spigots on your containers as well, to be able to access water out of the containers. Also a reinforced neck that adds even more durability to the container. Now, I'm kind of impressed with the soft molded handled center on the top. I'm impressed with that because I can pick these things up if I have to. I can put them on top of counters. I can put them off the ground, lift them up, put them on a stool or a chair to get water out of them. Okay? These containers are comfortable, they're well balanced, and they can transport very well. I believe that's an added bonus. But they're also food safe. They're food safe. BPA free. PVC and DHEP free. That was my criteria. I wanted to make sure you could have adequate water. I've given you some options here. I think we've given you some options here. Do we have any questions? Do we have any questions here? Any questions? Kitty Haven is saying blue water barrels are cheap on Marketplace. I agree. I've seen them as least expensive as $8 a barrel. Over at our Rural King, which is a animal and feed store here locally. Yes, they sell small tractors as well, but that animal and feed store sells them for $9. $9 for a 50-gallon barrel. That's pretty cheap. And they were very, very well made. That's what I got my latest. Okay? Any questions? My buddy Rob 52 is here. Rob, thank you for being here. God bless you, brother. I was going to call you tonight. Hope you're going to be available for a call. I like to call you. Rob and I are very good friends. We talk all the time. Not as frequent as we probably like to, but we talk all the time. Any questions about this? Over in Vanuatu, we've just Sharon Bolam here on the chat, which is Sleeping Volcano, which she goes by. Also, she talked about a 6.1 in Vanuatu just happened. Let's take down this water container here. Let's go to the USGS map and show you where Vanuatu is. Vanuatu is just west of the Fiji Islands, just west of Fiji Islands here. This is a 6.1 earthquake here. 8 miles west-northwest of Port Vila, Vanuatu. Okay, it's on the island here. Now you can imagine what this earthquake is going to do here on this island. They felt this earthquake, guys. This island would not be able to get away from feeling this earthquake. This earthquake hit the island. The entire island shook here. Port Villa has a large population. I don't know what that population is, but there's a large population here, and they definitely felt it. There may be some damage here in Port Villa, Vanuatu. In fact, let me check this. Let me check the population here. Port Villa has a population of 49,034 people. That's as of last year. 49,034 people, that's a lot of people, and there's going to be some casualties here. This was a very strong earthquake. This was a very strong earthquake. There's going to be some damage. We may see some injuries here. We might also see some people that may have lost their lives here. Okay? This earthquake is very close here. Now, I don't think, let me check here. I don't think this earthquake is anywhere but maybe 40 miles west of Port Villa. It says 8 miles west-northwest. Okay, it might be 8 miles, okay? I'll take that. 8 miles. The people here in Port Villa, Vanuatu felt this earthquake. And judging by the size of this island, there are other people here on this island as well. Let's look over here to the north. Yep, right there. There's another city here. There are small towns here as well. They all felt this earthquake, guys. Everyone here on Vanuatu felt this earthquake. We're here on the far east side. There's a city here as well. Any questions about this, guys? This is important. This is important. I appreciate y'all here, guys. I really do. I ask God to bless you and be with you always. Always. Now, some of you might ask, Ron, why? Why do you want God to be with us always? There's a simple reason. Very simple reason. God will bless you. I know for a fact that God will bless you. That's why it's important to me. That's why it's important to me. It's important for you as well. God can bless us if we want Him to. He's going to bless us nonetheless. But we can ask specific blessings. We can ask specific blessings if we want to. And yes, God will give us what we need. He will always give us what we need. In Matthew chapter 5, verse 23, he says, therefore, if thou bring thy gift to the altar, praying, ask God, bring thy gift to the altar, and there rememberest that thy brother hath aught against thee. Leave there thy gift before the altar, and go thy way. First be reconciled for thy brother, and then come and offer thy gift. When you offer the gift to the altar, Lord will accept that gift. We must be pure of heart. We must come there with humility, and ask God for a blessing, and He will bless us. He'll bless us. I've seen that here many times. I've seen it here with our EMA family. Here in Matthew, chapter 5, starting with verse 14 through 18. Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set up on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candlestick and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick. And it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and edify your Father which is in heaven. Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. Fulfill. The Lord wants to bless His brothers and sisters, and He will. I testify to that. I love our Savior, Jesus Christ. Our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I worship Him. I love Him. I follow Him. May God bless us to do that to this end. To the end that we can help our families return to our Father in Heaven's kingdom. I can't even think of being without all of you in heaven. I can't wait for that day. I love you enough. I care about each one of you. May God bless you. May God be with you this day and always. I hope you have a great day and a great night. God be with you until we meet again. We will see you on the other side. Have a good night, everybody. God bless. See you soon. Good night.
Here at Emergency Management Associates, we're dedicated and true, bringing you the essential knowledge, helping you see things through. From disaster preparedness to navigating recovery's embrace, we're here to guide you in every unpredictable time and place. We break down the complex, make it easy to grasp and absorb, sharing strategies for safety, the vital lessons you can't afford to hoard. So thank you for watching, and thank you so much for your sub. You're a key part of our growing family, a member of our knowledge club. With every like, every share, and every comment you send our way, our critical message spreads further, helping more people every single day. Together we're stronger and more prepared. That's the truth we all abide. You help us build resilience with nowhere for uncertainty to hide. Your engagement truly inspires us. Your feedback acts as a guiding light, helping us continually grow and making our channel's future bright. We're always learning, always striving to be better. Bring you the most up-to-date information, no matter the weather. Emergency Management Associates is here for you now and forever, it's true. Keep watching, keep learning, because we truly appreciate all that you do. Thank you. Thank you.